And it's live.
Awesome. Let's see. I'm not seeing anything yet, so
Where the world is it going to then? Yeah, going to St. Anger Productions. Let me look.
all right. It shows that I'm live.
On Facebook or on the deal?
Yeah.
There it is. Boy, so
Yep.
much for
I
that
just
seven
went ahead
second
and
delay, huh?
yeah. I was actually trying to share it.
Oh,
Just kind of try to make it a little bit easier on me, so I can kind of try to keep tabs on everything.
mm-hmm.
Let's see. Oh, I want to see comments. Oh, fucking hell. You know what? Screw it. I don't need to see comments, so
Okay. I'll watch
that's the way
comments
I
for
see
you.
it.
All right.
Okay.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Back over here. All right. So, hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Ozzy, St. Anger Productions, and today I have a good friend of mine, Raven Revival. Raven, how are we doing today?
Peachy. I just dropped my fucking pick.
Good job. At least it's not an acoustic guitar, huh?
Ain't that the truth? I don't need to be losing a big old pick like this in a freaking tiny little hole like that.
Yeah.
Giggity.
Playing Magaraka with it. So, all right. Pleasure to meet you. I'm glad you're here with us. So I fully support local music, local entertainment. However, local is not limited to just Tonkawa, Tulsa, or wherever. Local can literally be anywhere you are located. Local is your scene, your location. With that being said, tell me a little bit about what local means to you. What is your location, and describe the local entertainment scene where you're at.
Um, the local entertainment scene out here where I'm at, it's not very big, especially with the rock and metal genres like what I have. Um, are there a bunch of fans around here? Yeah. But is it mostly country artists that come out here? Yes. Country and pop artists are the ones that come out here where we're at. To me, I would have to say that local music is anywhere that you play where you are from. That's local music to me. If you are playing in
Yes.
the hometown where you started your band, that is local music. As somebody who has been to other states for those local bands, for like Richmond, Virginia, Grand Rapids, Michigan, let's see, Detroit, Michigan, Dallas, Texas, Gainesville, Texas. Um, there was a place in Colorado that I went to for a church thing because a local church up there in Colorado ended up having their local church band play while the church band that I was part of in Owasso ended up going up there. So we played a little church show out there. But to me, that's what local music is. It's where you play, where you started. So it's
Okay.
like for my band, we start here in Stillwater. It's one of those. We start here and then we play shows around. That's local. But local can also be considered around your state. It's not
Okay.
just subjected to, you know, one city, one town, one area. It's not just considered that. It's your home stomping grounds where you play your shows at. It's where you got your start. Every band has been there. I mean, look at Motionless in White, Bullet for My Valentine, Metallica, Slayer, Slipknot, Lamb of God. Look at all of them. they're all
Hmm.
from different states, and whenever they play a show in their home state, they're considered to be a local band.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. Um, so how far is your reach and how far are you willing to take your music?
As far as I can get it, my reach has gone to surprising distances. Actually, uh, my band has 4 fans in Canada right now, and that's actually a really good step because our music's getting out there.
Hmm.
But I've been approached by bands while I was at shows, and they go, "Hey, are you such and such person?" Yeah, I am. How do you know me? Oh, we've heard your music. Oh, you've heard our music. How'd you hear our music? Oh, we heard it on SoundCloud or YouTube or this or that. And it's like, oh, okay. Like the last show that I went to was February 15th that you put on,
Hmm.
and one of the bands that I was part of played there, but I'm no longer part of that band for a long story that I don't want to delve into. It's a personal matter. We both agreed to go our separate ways, and it was best for everybody. So simple as that.
Enough said about that one. But yeah, that's exactly right. I remember that. Hell, I'll sit there talking to that person out there by the doors and it's like, yeah, that's Raven over there. Kind of surprises you, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think it was what was his name? It was from Frosty and Bargain, I think.
No, was it Let's Slip the Dogs?
It might have been. I'm not 100% sure. I don't quite remember.
It's been
I
over a
just
month
know
ago. I don't
that,
remember now either.
yeah, it's been like 2 months. So see, I'm bad
Almost.
with names, but I'm great with faces. I'll always remember a face.
That's a lot of faces when you're out on the road, isn't it?
Oh yeah, but each one, and this is something I've learned from being in a band and actually playing shows in different places. You may meet a lot of people. You may not remember their names, but I can guarantee you that by the time you play another show in that area and they go see you again, you're going to remember that face and be like, you were here before. You've seen us play before. It's good to see you guys come back and watch us play again.
Hmm.
And that's the thing that I look for is fans. I look for people that want to keep coming back and seeing us. I look for people that actually want to get to know the band. I don't want to be. I want to be like the next Michael Jackson, where if a fan runs up on stage and wants to hug the vocalist or the guitarist or the bassist or the drummer, we're gonna keep doing our thing, but we're gonna lean into them and be like, "Hey, hang on, let me finish this. We'll give you a hug and we'll send you on your way. We might even send you backstage so you can actually meet us." It just really all depends on the situation.
Hmm.
Because I'm not
And
going to have
security.
another a dime bag Daryl situation.
God hope not.
No, because that one was devastating
Tragic.
and tragic at just the least to say.
Yes, absolutely.
But that's just for me, anyways. Like I know where I stand and what local music means to me, and I know where I started. So
Right on. So, how did you get into music? And I mean, we already know you play guitar, or I mean, at least we're assuming we see you holding a pretty guitar. Um, what other instruments do you play?
I've been kind of messing around on drums a little bit. I'm not very good, but can I, do a standard steady 4/4 beat? Yeah. Can I do a 6/8? Yeah. Are they fancy? No. But can I play guitar? Yes. I've got right here my Jackson 7 string. It's a JS 22/7. Um, I do have an Ibanez, a Schecter, a BC Rich, and a Fender, along with a Donner acoustic guitar that was not my first guitar per se, but it was the first guitar I got from moving from one city to a small town for somebody, and they gave it to me as a Valentine's Day gift. And I still have it because it's not about the worth of the guitar. It's about the sentimental value that it holds. The value that it holds for me is something that you can't replace.
Mm-mm.
But I got my start, uh, I would have to say, when I was probably 2 years old, when my grandparents got me and my sister. Um, they got me, little toy electric guitars and stuff so I could be able to play. And I was like, cool. It's what sparked up my interest for playing guitar. And as I got older, I was like, Grandma, Grandpa, I want a guitar. So they went out and spent like $100 on me for Christmas with an acoustic guitar. When I turned 13, I got my first electric, and that was, I don't know if anybody's ever going to know who this guy is or what this brand is, but it's the J. Reynolds Super Strat. It's basically a knockoff version of Fender, but with some guy's signature on it, and that's about it. And then I ended up going through some situations, and I ended up living with my aunt and uncle. And as a birthday gift for, I think it was my 15th or 16th birthday, I can't remember, but my uncle went to a pawn shop and spent $80 on a Fender Squier Strat. And I mean, this was an American Fender Squier Strat.
Wow.
It wasn't some knockoff, but the owner of the pawn shop was a regular customer where my uncle worked. And he's like, hey, I got some guitars I'm trying to sell. Do you know anybody? My uncle goes, yeah, I'll be over there on my lunch break. He goes over there, sees a couple of guitars. He's like, you know what, my nephew will like this one. So he brings the guitar home for me, and I had that for a while until I started getting into some hardships where I needed some money. So I had to sell my guitars, and I was like, you know what, I had to let them go. So I regret not holding on to the ones that held the most sentimental value, because my first acoustic would have been a great starter acoustic for my kid. My
Mm-hmm.
starter electric guitar would have been a prized possession and a memory to hold, because that was a guitar that my grandmother bought me for my 13th birthday. My
Yeah.
Fender was a 15th or 16th birthday gift from my uncle. That's 3 guitars down, but after X amount of time goes by, I ended up having to sell everything I own just to be able to pay bills. All right, take care of my kids. Cool, got it. Well, now here I am. I want to say almost 12, 13 years later, maybe 15 years later. I've now got an acoustic. I've got a 7 string. I've got 4 electric 6 strings. I plan on getting another 7 string, 2 8 string guitars. I want to continue furthering my knowledge with music and putting out there what I want to learn. So if I have like this riff that's in mind, but I hear it in a lower tone and none of my other guitars can do it, well, I can try it on this, or I can try it on the 8 string, or I can try it on a 9 string. Just depends. But I want to further my musical education and my musical knowledge so I can learn more things. But I got my start with a real guitar when, I don't know whoever wants to consider it, but I would say I got my start with a real guitar when I was 8 years old, because I started learning basic chords. I started learning,
Mm-hmm.
Mary Had a Little Lamb, or Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, or Camptown Ladies Sing the Song, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just stuff that you can pluck at and try to learn just from hearing, by learning by ear, or playing a chord like a G chord. That's just, I started learning, and then when I was 13 years old, my grandmother paid for me to go and take guitar lessons.
Nice.
I took guitar lessons for about 5.5 months, so about 22 weeks, if you want to look at it like that. Um,
Hmm.
the guitar teacher said that I was really good, and as long as I kept practicing for at least 30 minutes a day, my knowledge would improve, my finger strength would improve, everything that I need to know will come over time. There's not much else that he can teach me other than, hey, how can I play this song? How is it played? Can you show me how to play it? This and that. But sometimes your guitar instructor can't teach you how to play that song. That's something you have to learn on your own.
Hmm.
And now, since I'm in a band, and I've been in a band for since I was 17, I've been with many different bands. I've been with church bands. I've been with little tiny rock bands, little garage bands. I was with Paralytic. Um, I was with quite a few different bands. I've played shows in Texas. I've played shows in Oklahoma. I've played shows in Colorado. I've met a couple bands up in Michigan. I've got connections all around the United States just for us to be able to play shows. But like I said, the guitar instructor, he taught me everything that he could think of by getting me started. And then after that, some shit happened, some shit went down, and I'm going to leave that in the past because I don't talk about it. That's some family business that only my
Hmm.
family knows.
Yep.
So, but as I got older, I just progressed in my musical abilities and my musical career. And I try to learn new things every day.
Still waiting on you to learn that jazz.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
Oh,
That ain't ever going to happen.
I never say never. So just talk about some of the bands that you've been in and what you've done with those bands, like as a background context for us.
Um, well, I'll give you the first start that the band that I first started with. Um, I was 16 years old. I played in a church band at a church called Hope Chapel. I'm still friends with a few of the people from the church, but not a whole lot because they didn't agree with my life choices and how I am a different belief than them. But a lot of people are like, "Hey, that's his belief. He's not about us. That's fine." But
Hmm.
he's a good musician. So I got my start in the Hope Chapel band when I was 16 years old up until I was 18. Um, some shit happened. I was out for about a year. And then I ended up going to a church called Life Church. They were needing a guitarist. I played for two different Life Church bands, and one was in Tulsa and one was in Owasso. Life Church is the one where I got to go to Colorado.
Hmm.
That was a fun little experience. Um, it got me over, my stage fright and being like, oh, there's so many people here I don't know. Oh my God. What do I do? I'm freezing up. Nah, it got me over, playing just the first song. They're like, all right, let's put our hands up in worship and praise and blah, 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 blah. While I'm just picking over there on my guitar, just giving some background noise. They say their prayers, I do their thing. Then we jump right into the next song, and then I'm having a blast because no one cares about if you mess up on that stage. They don't care that, oh, you're nervous. They don't care about that. They care more about the fact that you're there. They're getting to do the thing that they love while you get to do the thing that you love.
Hmm.
And one of the small time garage bands that I was in when I was living in Tulsa, they're no longer around, surprisingly, but I kind of figured they wouldn't be around for very long because they never really made it out of the garage phase. They just started, had like 4 songs, and but it was a Christian rock
Kind of
band,
like
and
a hobby.
yeah, pretty much. They had one album that kind of went viral for a little bit, and then I ain't heard nothing from them. And the album, oh, I think it was called Carnage. The band was called A Sinner Kissed an Angel.
Hmm.
They're no longer around. Don't know what happened to any of them, but I played with them in Tulsa for a little bit, and then just let's see. Back when I was 17, I started my band, which is now called Bloodlust Revival. But we went through a lot of band names. Let's see. Oh, I think I have it in here.
While you're
Might
looking, do you
not be
think
in
it's harder
this.
to find band names or find inspiration for music?
It depending on who you are, depends on how hard it is for you to come up with band names. But to me, it's harder to find inspiration for such and such music that you want to write and that you want to create, because damn near everything has been done. There's not
Seems
much
like it.
left to there's not much left to the experience of other people, unless you have to rip off another person's song by stealing this riff from this song and stealing a riff from that song, stealing a riff from that song, stealing a vocal style from this song, stealing a vocal style from this band, so on and so forth. But
Mm-hmm.
the band names that we started out with was Bloody Kiss. That was the start of it all. Then we moved on to Black Rose. Black Rose was kind of one of those little neighborhood things where a couple of the people in my neighborhood would get together and just kind of bring their instruments and play and so on and so forth. Okay, Bloody Kiss is what started everything. I had this vision, I had this idea. I had 4 songs, 4 lyrics. Oh, excuse me, 4 lyrics already written, and I was trying to work out, what should I play? Should I use chords? Should I use bar chords? Should I use power chords? Should I use drop tuning? What should I do? And then after a while of going through most of these names, it went from Bloody Kiss to Black Rose. From Black Rose, it went to Spirits of Blood, and then it went to Bloodied Spirit was tossed up, but we ended up going with a name of the band called Pure Destruction, and the name is actually quite old in itself, because that
Mm-hmm.
was tossed to me by a friend of mine who I worked with in landscaping, and he said, if I listened to any music from you, I would think your band name would be Pure Destruction, because it sounds purely destructive. And I was like, so you think my music just sounds like destruction? He's like, yeah, most of your lyrics, they're destructive. They're about self-destruction. Your guitar riffs and the drum beats, that all sounds like something that would be destructive. Just everything alone was destructive. I was like, okay, then we'll go with that. But Bloodied Spirit was tossed up by the first drummer that we had of BLR, and he stepped away. And I wish him the best of luck with his endeavors and his projects that he's got going on. I wish him the best of luck. But we didn't go with that one. We ended up going back to Pure Destruction after me and a couple of other members came up with the name Dehumanized. So we rocked with that for a
Mm-hmm.
little bit until we got our first song done, which was Rain. Rain was one of the very first songs that we did. We have a demo out of it of it out on SoundCloud right now. No lyrics, just guitars, just in its raw audio, uncut, with mess ups and everything. Because that was the first song that we did as a band. Well, after Dehumanized, we got a cease and desist letter from a band up in New York that found out about us. And because they were already signed to a label, we got a cease and desist letter that said, hey, stop your shit. Okay, cool. We'll stop. Well, after the drummer left, I ended up getting a friend of mine who was in another band who left that band just to come over to my band. I said, all right, cool. What should we name the band? He said, well, you go by Raven Revival. I was like, well, yeah, I've been going by Raven Revival for a couple of years now. So, the fuck else do we? What are you getting at? He goes, we could call it Revival Toilet or shit Revival or something. And I was like, no. He's like, well, how about Bloody Tampon? And I'm like, no. But you gave me an idea. He goes, oh, what's the idea? I said, Bloodlust Revival. It uses the last name that I fashioned for myself, but it uses the gothic nature of the music and who I am. And we ended up running with that because it was a vampire gothic nature. It was the music, hence the album that we're about to drop. By the way, we just got to get all this whole new lineup of people that just came into the band. We got to get them caught up, and we've got to get them recorded onto the album. And the album is called Vampire. I don't know if any of y'all have seen the album cover, but a friend of mine who is an exotic dancer, she allowed me to use one of the photos that she had for our album cover. So that was a blessing in disguise. Let's see. That guy that helped me come up with the name of the band that we've been rolling with for like the last 2-3 years, he's no longer around with us, but I do still talk to him on occasions. I just haven't talked to him in months. So basically since like January. And it was more or less to check up on him and say, hey man, how you doing? Yeah, well, yeah. There's some shit that went down in the band and he wasn't as reliable as we wanted him to be, so we gave him the boot. Told him to get lost.
And sometimes that happens, huh?
Oh, yeah. And then it came down to we had to replace him, and we got a new bassist called Dax Demon. And the new bassist, he's not exactly the prettiest of persons.
He knows how to play, though.
That he does. He is one hell of a bassist.
He's still pretty fresh, too. How long has he been playing?
3 years.
Yeah,
3 years, I think.
He kicks ass.
Oh yeah. But no, the vocalist that we had didn't like him and got pissy because of the fact that I didn't communicate with him about, hey, we're bringing in this guy for an audition. Well, I'm sorry, fucker. You're never responding in the group chat, so it's not my fault that you decided, oh, hey, I'm going to overlook the fact that Raven said this. That's not my fucking fault. I mean, technically, in a way, I communicated. Yeah, just didn't communicate it directly to him. That's what. Okay. It's whatever. It's neither here nor there. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But
so one thing that I am thinking matters is that there's a story that I've known for a little while now. We're going to go back to Dehumanized.
Ah, yes.
What is a story that... Mm-hmm.
So what's the story behind Dehumanized and how we came up with the name?
No, there's another story that you told me. From a famous frontman of a band.
Ah, yes. Um, Before BLR actually officially made the call to not exactly go through with the name and the style that we were looking at, because we were looking at doing jumpsuits and masks and all sorts of stuff and whatnot. But we ended up getting rid of the masks, getting rid of the jumpsuits, and we're going for something a little bit more. The sound of like what you would hear, the sound of our music is what you would picture us to be.
Mhm.
If we're not doing a headline show, we're rocking gothic clothes of punk shorts with patches sewn on it, battle vests, spike bracelets, dog collars, makeup, all of it, the whole 9 yards. Well, I'm talking about just
Platform
straight out
boots.
there. Like we look like we walked out of the gates of hell as demons,
That or a
but
Spencer's.
that are a hot topic. Back in the early 2000s, hot topic. None of this
Hmm.
new age hot topic bullshit that we have now. But Dehumanized was a vision that I had where everybody in the band was to wear a mask based on the choosing of what you wanted and how you pictured yourself to be the person on the inside, the demon that you're fighting.
Hmm.
But as I wrote the song Vampire, I looked back and I was like, in a way, we're not fighting demons. We're fighting back the vampire that's in us, or fighting back the vampires that are around us, sucking us of what we are about, for who we are. Yeah, we're aware of it. Do we care that you're doing it? No. But now we need to step back and go, I do care about this. Go fuck yourself. Nah, get out of here. I don't want no vampire
Hmm.
around me. Hence the title of the album, Vampire, because it's all about love, hate, pain, emotional damage, trauma, um, being used, so on and so forth. It's just it's what called to me and what I started writing about.
Hmm.
There were so many names I could have gone with for the album. Like we could have done Phantom or Phantasmic Memory or the Phantom's Memory or Memory of a Phantom. It could have been literally a number of things. It could
Hmm.
have been called Pouring Rain because the first track on it is called Rain.
Hmm.
But we decided as a band to name it Vampire because of the main iconic song that we have composed for it. Because
It's a fun little
that
song.
song, it is a fun little song, especially with a little shuffle in there. It goes from like this 4/4 count to an 8 count 4/4 time signature to this triplet 4/4 shuffle thing. And it's weird, but it's fun. It's fun to play. Um,
It is weird, but it's very fun.
oh yeah, but it comes down to it as when we started to humanize for the name, it's because we had this image of who we were on the inside, and now we've come and we've grown, and majority of us have families, majority of us have our own lives going on, and we're doing this as a band of brothers, so that we can you know actually get to know get to know one another, and we
Hmm.
can bounce ideas off of each other and write music based off of this person, that person, not just off of one person.
Right.
I mean, it takes a band to make a great album. It takes a band to make great music. But we went from
Yes.
Dehumanized to BLR because of our style and what we pictured and how we are, not who we used to be. Dehumanized was the kid in us. We were kids, and now we're adults. And like turning 30 or getting into our 30s or already in our 30s. We're adults.
Hmm.
We're realizing as we get older that life isn't as peachy as we thought it was when we were younger. So here we are.
Nope.
We're just kind
Hmm.
of rolling by.
Yeah, we are sometimes. So you've got to meet some fairly famous people, and one of them at one point had bought a dehumanized shirt.
Ah, yes, yes. Ivan Moody. That was a fun day. That was a very fun day. I
So
actually
what
got to
happened
meet
with that?
him. Um, I was playing a show with a couple people who was kind of helping out the band, and it was just like a little small time show at the Diamond Ballroom. We weren't really one of those big time name people that were just like the openers. No, we weren't on a tour. We just kind of were like, hey, there's this band that's coming through. You want to be an opener? Hell yeah, it's a show. So we set up a merch booth. I'm by the merch booth waiting. I got a table in front of me. Ivan Moody walks up and he goes, hey, how much are these shirts? I think they're pretty cool. I'm like 10, $15. I mean, what do you want me to do? He's like, I'll take
Hmm.
two of them. I'm like, okay, that'll be like $20. He's like, here's 40. Keep the change. Sorry, it was literally just
Nice.
like $20. That's all you had to give me for two shirts.
Hmm.
Because he got one in black and he got one in red. I loved it because we had multiple colors at that time before the drummer that we had that was actually part of the band, and we had this temporary guy. He was good with making shirts. I said, all right, cool, make us some shirts. He found a font and a logo that we went with. We said, all right, cool, this is what we're going to go with. Now, that same year at Rocklahoma, Ivan Moody was up on stage, and you could see right here on the left side of his chest, dehumanized. And it was like little small logos, something that wasn't too much, too out there, just something that was like, hey, dehumanized. Yeah, let's support our band.
Hmm.
Well, he went to turn around and walk away, and he's like, by the way, I seen that you were looking at me. Do you know who I am? I was like, no, but I feel like I know you from somewhere. He goes, I'm Ivan Moody. How you doing? I kid you not when I say I jumped over that table and I broke several things. Thank God it wasn't anything on my body, but it was definitely a fun day. Got to meet him, sat with him in the backstage area or the green room of the Diamond Ballroom, and I sat with him for like 30 minutes just talking to him. But dude, after he got off of alcohol, best guy you could ever meet. He now, just for the fun of it, and he's admitted to me that just for the fun of it, he goes to liquor stores to help people get off of alcohol who are part of Alcoholics Anonymous. He will buy a bottle, record himself dumping the bottle out, and say, "This is for you guys because you guys need to turn your life around. This will kill you." And I'm like, dude, that's a
Yeah.
man I respect.
Wow.
So that was a fun day that I got to sit there and meet him. I also, back when I was 13 years old, I was with my grandmother, and because we lived in Tulsa at the time, there was a radio station called 97.5 KMOD. They
The
had
commode.
Papa
Yep.
Roach. They had Papa Roach come through on a lunch hour while they were doing a tour, and they were stopping through Tulsa to play a show. So they went into the KMOD radio station, and as we're leaving, I saw the tour bus, and I was like, "There's a tour bus here, Grandma. What's that?" She goes, "Oh, that's a tour bus. It looks like there's people getting off." And I'm like, "Those aren't just anybody. That's Papa Roach." Well, I was like, "Can I go get their autograph on my CDs?" My grandmother was like, "Yeah, go ahead." Surprisingly, and I don't know why the fuck they had no security, but as a kid, you're a fan. You run up to them and you're like, "Hey, dude, I'm a big fan. Can you sign my albums?" And they look at you and they go, "Who the fuck are you? Get the fuck away from me. So what's the first thing you're gonna do? You're gonna go, oh, okay, fuck me. Well, fuck you too. I'm no longer a fan of you. Now I
Hmm.
understand that was in oh shit 2008. It was 2008 area, like late 2008 after I turned 13.
Hmm.
I mean, they were on drugs. Most every band was on drugs back then.
There are
Now,
a lot of them, anyways. Yeah.
from from what I learned about Jacoby was after his incident. I think it was something to do with like he went to the hospital for something or like had an overdose. He went to the hospital for something, and it turned his life around. And he has been apparently the best guy to a lot of people. His fans, he's no longer afraid to shake their hand. He will walk up to them, pat them on the shoulder, give them a hug, like take them backstage, have them meet everybody. But it still doesn't change the fact of my experience that I had. The experience that I had when I was younger really changed my perspective of it. I'm like, look, you got a good few songs, but yeah, I'm good. I'm good right here while you're over there. That's simple as that.
Now let me ask you this one then. How much do you think that has affected who you are today?
That's actually affected me quite a bit because it made me realize that the person that he was and the people that I idolized, I got to know that the real people. I got to know the person behind the musician.
Hmm.
I got to realize that the person you're witnessing is not the person you want. It's not the person you want to be because that person is an asshole. He doesn't like fucking anybody. He's famous. If you're not famous and you don't have money, you're not rich, get off me. You're gross. Okay, well, fuck you too, motherfucker. That's just how I feel. And I realized, yeah, I'm 30 years old and I don't like a whole lot of people. I like to keep my circle small. Do I have friends? They're more like acquaintances. Friends, acquaintance. But the people that I call
I.
brothers, okay, you're a business partner, get it right. But the people I call my brothers, those are the people that I have been friends with for so long that I met them when I was in high school, before I was ever in a band, before I ever started playing music in other states, before I started playing with, BLR or Paralytic or this or that, before I even started a band, before I even thought about one. They have been
Yeah,
my
that's your
friends.
family.
That exactly, that's my family. Now, granted, a lot of my
Hmm.
family's not in my band, but there's one of them that is.
Hmm.
And he's been my friend for, God, since I was like 21.
Wow.
Yeah, he's been my friend since I was like 21. And here I am at 30 years old, 9 years later, the fucker's still around, and he's now the vocalist for us. Love the kid to
Oh
death.
yeah.
I do. That's a brother to me. Like, the guy's name, the vocalist, that's Isaac. We're gonna call him Isaac for now. But
Okay.
Dax, when I first met him, speaking of which, it's actually past the anniversary of when uh, he's been with BLR for 1 full year.
Hmm.
And I am surprised. There has been no one that stuck around this long in my band, other than the previous drummer. And that previous drummer was around for about a year and a half, 2 years, something like that. And yeah, but no other bassist or guitarist has stuck around because of how asinine I am about my music. I care a lot about the passion and the drive that I put in. I'm always open and willing to, you know, make the song better. Always. That's that's the whole
Mhm.
point of music is the music evolutionizes with the person.
Mhm.
But because I'm a guitarist, I'm set in my ways about how I do things. As a bassist, they're set in their own ways. But now with Dax being
Mhm.
part of the band, we're kind of bouncing off of each other now. Like I'm learning from him, he's learning from me, and it's going back and forth. It's like, hey, I got this sick riff. Oh, that's a chromatic, right? I don't know. You tell me. Yeah, that's a chromatic. Cool. I'm playing a chromatic riff. It's a basic metalcore riff. Oh, well, okay. I guess I'm playing metalcore then. Or I play some kind of octave minor harmonic, and it's like I'm playing in D minor in the key of D. If you know if anyone knows what that means, because I sure as hell don't, because that's just
I'm sure
what
there's a
my
lot of good. I'm sure there's plenty of guitarists who know a little bit about what you're talking about, but as everybody knows, I play drums. That's all Greek.
yeah. I mean, from a bassist perspective, that's fucking Greek to me. All I know is I'm playing a D chord in the power chord D, or I'm playing a G sharp in a bar power, or I'm playing a D sharp in a minor octave scale per se in a time of 3/4. That's about as far as you're gonna get from me. So playing in a key of this with the this and that, I'm like, dude, you're speaking Greek. Speak English. But
Yeah.
he's been with us for a year now. Um, Isaac's been with us for a few months now. Um, next
Okay.
weekend, I'm going to go and pick him up for a band practice because we're actually trying to put on a headlining show for an event that we're trying to start up called Halloween.
Oh,
We
that'd be
wanted to
fun.
do an event called Halloween at the Bowman Twin Event Center in Tulsa because that's
That's
where
a good venue.
originally. Yes, yes, it is, and it's Tulsa is my stomping grounds. That's where I got my start with my band. That's where
Mhm.
my band started. That's its roots. That's where that seed was planted. Just because that tree's not there does not mean that that seed was not planted there first.
Mhm.
Now that tree's been
Absolutely.
picked up and moved across the state of Oklahoma, but I mean, hell, there's a lot of things that get picked up and moved across the state of Oklahoma.
Yeah. Um, cars, motorhomes,
People,
drug labs. I mean, oh,
we're not talking about that.
yeah, lovely
Get
Oklahoma.
twit.
And so going back to the what you talked about with Papa Roach, let me ask you this one. Um, yeah, who we see on stage a lot of times is not who we see in real life. Um, we see that, at least have seen it a lot. Um, now let
Yes,
me ask
and
you this one
it's
with
false
with
actualization.
everything. Yeah. Now with social media and as powerful as a tool as social media is, do you think that if you're going to have, like your page and the band page, or like my personal profile and Saint Anger Productions or whatever, how important is it, do you think it is to watch your P's and Q's on your personal profile? Do you think it's just as important as doing so on your main page, or do you think that matters?
On my main page, like my own personal profile on Facebook, those who actually know me, they know the real me, not
Mhm.
the person that's up on stage. Because the person that gets up on stage is just there to be a professional. It's we're in a business, we're doing this because this is how eventually we're going to get our money and support our family. But the real
Hmm.
people that know me know that I'm one of five things. And I guarantee you, the people that know me the best know those five things. And to me,
Hmm.
my personal profile is my personal profile. If you don't fucking like what I say on it, or what I share, or what I post, well, there's the unfriend button. I get to clicking because guess what? I don't care. I'm at that point in my life where I'm going to speak freely because I have an amendment protected by the government to speak what I want to speak when I want to speak it. And if you don't like it, oh well. There's the unfriend
Sad,
button.
sadly, cancel culture doesn't see it like that, though. But we wish they would, though, huh?
Radke. All because of what he said 15 years ago. I mean, did he say some of the best things 15 years ago? Nope. But
You did.
during the time of COVID and before, cancel culture wasn't really a thing. Now, cancel culture, as of because of freaking uh, the COVID incident, it's like people got bored. They wanted to create something just to create something because they get offended real easily. And I'm like, well, sorry, Snowflake. Welcome to the real world. People are going to say things that are going to hurt your feelings. And what are you going to do about it?
Hmm.
You're going to cry to mommy about it? Go ahead. No one's going to care. Literally, any person with any lick of common sense will look at you and tell you, shut up and grow up. There's no one on the face of this earth that gives a flying rat's ass about your opinion. An opinion is like an asshole. Just because you have one, don't mean you have to show it off.
Yeah.
That's
It's
just
a personal opinion for a reason. It's personal.
exactly. You can keep it. You can keep your opinions to yourself. It's personal opinions for a reason.
I mean, jazz is amazing music, though.
But that's your personal opinion. I personally do not like jazz because
Exactly.
jazz is not my area of expertise. It's not my forte. It's not my style. Just like country. I do like a little
Exactly.
bit of country here and there. But are you going to see me going out of my way to look it up and listen to country all day? No. I will go out of my way on a drive home from work or say we're leaving a venue for the night and I want to listen to some country because I've got a throbbing headache from loud metal playing behind my freaking head. I'm gonna put my earbuds in. I'm gonna turn my phone down low. I'm gonna play some country
Hmm?
because I want something that's a little bit more soothing, something that's got an acoustic feel, something that's more emotional, has more soul. Not saying that metal doesn't have soul or emotion. It's just I want something more sultry, more melodic,
Hmm.
something that
So
uses
to kind of wind down.
words, pretty much. And I mean that goes for everybody in the band. We're all like that. We don't like on our way to a show, we're gonna be blasting metal and just having fun because we're getting pumped up, we're getting amped, we're getting excited. We're on our way to a show. Yeah. Now we're leaving the show. Oh man, I hurt. I got a headache, my neck hurts, my back hurts, my fingers hurt, I feel like my fingers are bleeding. It's just time to wind down and just enjoy the trip back home.
Hmm.
Once we get home, we're all gonna crash out at one place, unload what we need to unload, do another practice, leave, wait till the next weekend. Do the same damn thing over
Do it
again.
again. Wash,
Bingo.
rinse, repeat.
That's the way
Hmm.
that I see things. And I'm wanting BLR as the guy who started BLR back when it was Bloody Kiss, then went to Black Rose, that era. I had this image to where we could go on tour. And that's the goal for either the ending, like somewhere around the ending of next year or the beginning of 2027. but we want to get at least a year
Mhm.
in of playing solid shows either every weekend or every chance we get. We don't care if, these people have already seen us. These people have already bought our shirts. These people have already bought our albums. Or this person has met this person, so on and so forth. Like, we don't care. We're trying to get out there, get
Mhm.
our music out there to create more fans, get more followers, and not just build a following, or a fan base, but to us, we want to build the vampiric family. We want our own
Nice.
clan, if you want to say. Like
Mhm.
Slipknot has the maggots.
Yep.
You have Korn, who is the Feels. You've got Limp
Yep.
Bizkit. You've got all these other people that have all of these names for their fans. Why can't we have the clan? We want
Right.
our fans to be our clan. Wherever we go, they're bound to be there. Why not have that?
You can. But how do you get
Like,
it?
start small. You got to start right where you started.
Making it a job, making it a career.
In order to make a job a career, you got to get the job first. And then you got to keep working at that job to make it that career.
Hmm. Absolutely. So, speaking of career, how do you see your future in music?
Um, Probably within the next 3 to 5 years, I see BLR actually going the distance and doing a 48 continental state tour, because I've already started a touring list of different places to go play at. And on that tour list, we have, and what's surprising is my band's actually fighting me on most of this, but I understand, because one of the places I put down on there doesn't exactly like people like us, like the people in my band. They don't exactly like us. But you know
Hmm.
what? It is what it is. But we have Utah, we have Arkansas, Ohio, Idaho, Michigan, North Carolina, Kansas, Alabama, Illinois, Kentucky, Missouri, and Oklahoma. That's just on the basic of what we're going to be doing. But there's so many different places and cities and towns that we will be playing at to get our music out there. We're hoping by
Hmm.
next year we'll have 3 full recorded albums to be out there, so we can actually get out there and people go, hey, this band actually has quite a good few songs. They've got a bunch of good songs. They've got 3 really good albums. Why don't we sign them? Well, I'm sorry. This is where me and my band is going to disagree. I don't
Oh.
want to be a band where we sign something and we end up having to change who we are and change our music, all because it's what this community wants or what these kids want or what these people want. I grew up with dad rock. I grew up with the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and then I grew up with the 90s, early 2000s, the 2010s, and now here I am in the 2020s, and I'm going, wow, music really has made a change. I want to aim our music at the adults, because I want the adults who have been through shit to be able to relate to our shit. And that's exactly what I'm going to call our music. Is I call our music shit, because what we talk about is literal shit. Like, we talk about relationship shit. We talk about heartbreak shit. We talk about love shit. We talk about all that. It's our shit. But you know what? Kids nowadays, when they hear our music, they're gonna go, "Man, this sounds like shit." But exactly, because it wasn't aimed for you guys. It was aimed for those who have had their hearts broken, who have been in relationships and went to propose to somebody, and that person was cheating on you with another person, and you had no idea. And then they leave you the day that you propose to them because they want to be with that person. Or, you got your heart broke, or you went through a divorce, or, you regret being with this person, but you don't regret the times that you had or the kids that you had. That's what our music is aimed towards.
Hmm.
It's aimed towards the older generation that's 25 and older. Now, if kids can get behind it by, oh, I've had my heart broke. Well, welcome to the real world, kid. You're going to learn that over time, as you get older, your heart's going to get shattered millions of pieces at a time over the years. You're going to feel like, oh, I'm done getting hurt. I'm done doing this. I'm done dating. I'm done with relationships. I'm done with these people. I'm done with that type of person, so on and so forth. But what are you going to keep doing? You're going to keep putting yourself in that situation, knowing what's going to happen. And the only way to change it is if you change yourself. And that's the
Hmm.
message that our music is trying to relate to the older generation. It's meant for that. We're trying to
Okay.
communicate that through stories of this and that. The only way you're going to get past it is if you change yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're absolutely right. So, um, tell us a little bit about current projects that you have going on. What are your roles within those projects?
Um, well, BLR is our only project right now. It's my only project other than, taking care of my family, working, and doing my part as a father, doing the best I can as a father, but also keeping up to what I want to do and continue playing guitar and writing music, being a songwriter, being, a music theorist, using music theory to write my music, um, writing lyrics, doing some backup vocals. It's right now BLR is the only thing we've got. But a few years ago, I had a band that I started as a side project, which for some odd reason actually took off in California. And we've never played a
Really?
show in California, let alone that band never played a show.
Hmm.
But that band was called Revenant Infernum. It was a funeral blackened doom metal band.
Hmm.
It stuck with the originality of the slow, sludgy, doomy stuff, but utilized a lot of the black metal style, a lot of the fast tremolo picking, the triplets, the sixteenths, the sextuplets, all that. It used
Hmm.
30-second notes. Like that band was a whole different breed of its own because
Wow.
me and another person shared the same idea and the same view for what we had in mind, and we wrote lyrics, and we were like, dude, let's just make an instrumental video with a little bit of vocals on it. So we made like 2 or 3 videos, and those 2 or 3 videos ended up getting the attention of this group in California. I think it was in not Los Angeles. Um, it's just south of Los Angeles. I can't remember the
Um,
name of it, but this
Sector,
was a
no.
group.
Hmm.
It's not SoCal.
Hmm.
It's
Um,
around the Long Beach or the South Beach area. It's around that area of the beach side.
okay. Okay. Gotcha.
But a studio had actually hit us up and said, "We will fly you out to come and record. All you need is your instruments, your amplifiers, and your clothes. That's it. We will put you up. We will get you guys recorded. We will get you guys signed, and we'll get you guys out there playing." Because apparently the black metal scene is really freaking big up there. And I had
Hmm.
no idea. And I was like, we're not even remotely ready for that because we don't have anybody. They said, we will get you the people. I was like, man, as nice as that sounds, I don't I don't want it. And he goes, well, I understand, but if you ever change your mind, just reach out to me, we'll make something happen. And
Wow.
I haven't looked back since. I haven't changed my opinion. I don't want to change who I am for somebody else. I'm not
Right.
about changing who I am and what I have become and the person I have been to the person I'm now for
Hmm.
somebody else for what they want me to be in the future. I'm not about that. So
Nice.
me and the other person that shared the same idea, we both said, no, we're not going to do it. But my music has gone to California. Revenant Infernum had gone to California, and it went through Facebook and got to California. So I took one video and posted it up on YouTube. Now, I mean, you can still find it, but you're going to have to track it down and track it down hard. Unless you come directly to me and ask me for the link, I will send it to you, but
Hmm.
you're not going to like the audio quality or what we had because what we recorded was on the spot. We had these riffs, we took these riffs, made them into what we made them in, and then we played it everything else by ear, by heart, by what we felt. And that's what led us to where I'm at today. I'm doing everything based off of emotion and feeling, thoughts, and my heart and my soul. I'm putting in my own music my blood, sweat, and tears into it. There's actually a few songs that I've written for this album for Vampire that I've actually cried over. I took pen and paper and cried out what I was like. I literally cried while writing what I was writing because I want my music to be about the emotion, the thoughts, the feelings, the heartache, the heartbreak, the everything. I want people to relate to it. But if you listen to Revenant Infernum stuff, it's so much deeper. Like people see, oh, a black metal band, are they going to become the next Mayhem? We all know about Mayhem and how the vocalist Dead literally ended up as his name, fucking dead, because he shot himself. We all know about that. But
Hmm.
we don't want to become like that. We want our music to be deeper. We want there to be hidden meanings behind our lyrics. We're not talking about burning down churches or hail Satan. No. With Revenant Infernum, we were screaming out our emotions. Did we have the best vocals? No. But it wasn't about the vocals.
Hmm. Got the
It was
message.
about exactly. It was about the message. It was about the message that we were putting forth. And I said, this was a year later. I said, I don't want Revenant Infernum anymore. I disbanded Revenant Infernum, and yeah, granted, excuse me, I still have the Facebook page, but do I post
Hmm.
anything on it? No, because there's nothing to post for them. Because Revenant Infernum is no longer a band. And if we did make it a band again, it would be like a pop-up band where, oh, this production agency or this promotion agency wants another band and they can't find another band to play the show. Well, I know 4 other people that know the songs and can play an hour for just 4 songs because that's all it took. It took 4 songs to cover one CD, one album because of how long we wrote it and because of the emotion that we put into it and the message that we put forth.
Wow.
That's all that mattered to us. We didn't care, if they wanted us to play a 20-minute set. It was, if we only play a 20-minute set and we only get one song off, at least that was one song that we were able to agree on, so that people could get the message.
Hmm.
I see a lot of bands out there that they write just about random shit because it's just what they want to write about. And I'm not dogging on anybody for what they want to write about, but sometimes you got to let the band be the band and let other people help write the lyrics. Like for
Hmm.
Dax Demon, he actually wrote a song for our next album called Web of Lies. And I'll get into
Wow.
that at a whole later point, but Web of Lies is just an immaculate song. We have yet to work on it, but we've got the basic of what we're hearing, what we want to do, and how we hear the lyrics, but we need to get the vocalist on the same page.
Um, yeah. You got any other projects like record label or anything like that that you like? Any other side projects?
Um, I wouldn't really call it a side project, but this is more of a protection of asset. So the music that we write and that
Hmm.
we record is under my band's own personal label that we have that I started called Revenant Recordings. Revenant Recordings is a nonprofit organization that any musician can come to us about, hey, we want to record our music, but we don't want, this record label owning all of our shit. Well, come to us. We'll put
Hmm.
our fucking name on it to protect your ass so that you can get your music out there. And whatever you guys
Okay.
make off the music, that's all yours. We don't want no money from you. We're not doing this to make money off of bands. We're not doing this to make money off of our own band. The band itself will make the money. But the band
Hmm.
members in my band, we put money together for the band and for the label. That's to pay for new gear, new recording equipment, new sound equipment, to pay, this person or that person. We do take donations to help us, but the money that we take, that
Hmm.
we get, we end up giving back because we're not about taking money for profit. So the band members, when we play a show, we all put 10% of our from what we made into the band to pay for this or that. Granted, yeah, there's some expenses that go along with it, with having a label, paying what needs to be paid. You got dues that need to be paid to the state. You got dues that need to be paid to you know all this other stuff. Pay for it.
Hmm.
So that's what we do. But we don't take any money based off of other people. We don't do that. We're not about that.
Okay. Nice.
It's just the I guess you could say it was my project that I started with to protect my band so that no label can say, we own your music. All your rights belong to us. Nah. Nah. Who wrote it? Who started the band?
Hmm.
Who's putting forth the work and the effort to get the money? Who makes the music possible? The band.
Hmm.
It doesn't belong to the label. It
Absolutely.
belongs to us.
I mean, as a musician, I agree with that.
And that's just something that you need to be able to protect your ass on, because not a whole lot of people are um, eye opened to see that, and how uh, that there's a lot of people that are fucked up in this world that are willing to take money from you to make money off of you, or to steal your music. Like there's a YouTuber I actually like, and he's played in 3 bands that actually have quite a few albums from. And here recently, he got into a legal debate and a legal action against him because somebody else took the little snippets and clips of his YouTube videos to make songs for themselves and posted it out on
Oh wow.
Spotify. So now Spotify ended up sending him a cease and desist letter, and he took it to his attorney. And he said, "These riffs, yeah, they belong to me, but this is where they come from. This belongs to the band. The band that I was in own the rights to this music. I technically don't. I was the
Mhm.
creator of it. I'm the one that knows the riffs. Yes, I'm the one that tabbed it out. I'm the one that used music theory to write it, but the band owns it."
Mhm.
And that was a whole heated debate that he had for about 6 months. I kept up with it, and it was bad. But they Spotify ended up taking that person who ended up posting all the riffs and the music and shit, and they
Mhm.
shut him down.
Oh, good. So how about the AI stuff that they've been trying to come out with for, um, like from what I've seen, Spotify is changing a bunch of stuff where you can start doing. Think of Spotify. It's one of the. It was, might not have been Spotify. Please don't come after me. It was one of the platforms for creating, sharing music, stuff like that. That if you put your
Oh,
work on there,
kid.
they open it up to where it can be remixed.
See, I don't
And
agree with that because I believe you should allow a 15 to 20-year span before anybody can touch anybody's songs. Because, I
if
mean, think
that.
about it. If I wrote a song, say 7 years ago,
Mhm.
and some jackass over here decides, "Oh, we're going to take this metal song and make it fucking techno." You just destroyed our hard work.
Mhm. And then they
You
get the credit for it.
Exactly. You're taking money and you're taking credit for something that this band did, that this person wrote, that this person put the time, the effort, the emotion, and everything into that song, and you fucking ruined it because it's no longer the same as to what it originally was meant to be. Like, I hear a lot of bands that, a lot of big bands too, that do a lot of covers. Like, for
Mhm.
instance, let's talk about Motionless in White real quick. They have a song that they covered from the Killers. The Killers had a song called um, "Somebody Told Me." Motionless in White redid it, but they didn't do it to the point to where it was just trash.
Mhm.
They made it their own style, but they kept to the originality of it, but put more aggression and more emotion into it. And it's like I hear bands that are covering, songs from Disturbed or Limp Bizkit or Slipknot. Hell, even bands are covering songs from Lorna Shore and just destroying them. They're like, it sounds like shit.
Mm.
And I don't agree with it. I do not agree with it. I don't think that they should have done that. That's one of the most frustrating things as a musician that somebody could do. As somebody who's in their 30s, you write a song in your 30s and you get up into your 50s and you hear this young kid band, they're banging away on their drums and slaving away on their guitars. They're riffing it out. They're having fun. They're screaming out their vocals to a song like, oh, I don't know, let's say "Laid to Rest" by Lamb of God.
Mhm.
You have kids that are keeping to the originality and the original idea of what that band started, but they're tweaking it just a little bit to make it their own, but to make it better.
Yeah.
And I respect the people who keep to the originality, but I don't
Mhm.
agree with what they decided to do with people being able to take other people's songs and redo it. Now, I will say for the AI stuff, like the whole Chester Bennington thing, people have been taking Chester Bennington's voice and doing an AI version and writing out songs in the style of Linkin Park, but as something for him, but it's not him, but it's in dedication to him because he's dead and gone now. And it's heartbreaking because he died at like 40 something years old because he committed suicide. Most of his
Hmm.
songs were a cry for help, and nobody saw that. I respect Chester Bennington so much as a person because the person that he was up on stage is the person he was out there.
Hmm.
He went down into the crowd and sang songs to people who were disabled. He sang songs to people who were crying in the crowd. He would pick them up, hug them, carry them over the fence, over the gates, over anything that he could to make them feel like they were actually a person, to make them feel special. And that's what I respect. I respect people like that. I do not respect people that are like fucking uh, I think her name's Emily Armstrong, who replaced Chester Bennington as the vocalist for Linkin Park. They do not
Hmm.
need to touch anything that Chester Bennington did. That shit pisses me off. Do not destroy that man's hard work. Now, you want to continue Linkin Park, but with a new vocalist? Do so.
Hmm.
Do so with every bit of your being. Be the original Linkin Park, but with this new vocalist. But make your own music. Make it your own. Don't touch somebody else's stuff. Make your own stuff. That's
So I
just
mean, they can still do it live, right? But they're saying don't
the only
re-record it.
no, I don't agree with them doing it live. I don't agree with them doing a re-recording. I don't agree with any of it because that's disrespectful and distasteful. It's disdainful to the person who wrote those songs out as a cry for help. And you're not understanding that the music that he was singing, that he wrote about, was him saying, eventually I'm gonna fucking kill myself. And here's how I'm gonna
Yeah,
do it.
and who? Yeah, and who would have thought about it? Like it's music. It's okay. It's an emotional song. How many emotional songs can you write? Does that mean that that's exactly what you've been through or exactly what you're experiencing? So
Exactly.
when we hear these songs, they're amazing songs. We didn't know.
Exactly. And that's the thing that irritates me the most is people do that. Now, if you want to take a country song and turn it pop, hip hop, rap, soul, metal, rock, fucking classical, or you want to take it and make it medieval, do so. Because country music is a starting base for so much of a wider variety of music that can be based off the lyrics. Like, for instance, take
Yep.
Eminem's song Venom.
Hmm.
You could literally turn that country and it would still be phenomenal because it's
Yeah,
not about the way it's sang. It's about the message that was put forth. But to
like the song
respect somebody,
Last Resort.
I do not like that.
Yeah.
But Ronnie Radke did it in his own style because he aimed that song more for the older generation because of what we're going through nowadays. Papa Roach
Hmm.
did Last
And
Resort
you can feel
for
those
kids.
emotions.
Yes. But Papa Roach did it for the
Hmm.
kids who needed an out to express their emotions in a way that people would understand so that they could get some help. And now Ronnie Radke,
Hmm.
he did it in a way where it's adults. We're not crying out for help. This is just how we feel now. We're older. This is how we
Yeah.
feel. And there's nothing anybody can do about it because if we go to a therapist, heaven forbid, they're going to lock us up in a freaking mental asylum because we're depressed. Like the fuck?
Yeah,
But like that,
you
that's
know,
just
you're right though. You're right though that it's not like we're actually sitting there crying for help, but yet we kind of are, but inside our own heads. And that's where a lot of that, the feeling of that song really came from
and
when he
see that
redid, redid
this is where I'm
it.
going to stop you at because you have your point, you have your point of view, but in a way,
Hmm.
us adults, we are crying out for help, but we're not crying out for help from a therapist. We're not crying out for help from a doctor. We're crying out for help for somebody to listen to us for our problems in hopes that somebody else can relate and help guide us and walk us through it. Because we
That's a
don't
very
know.
valid
There
point.
could be somebody who went through the exact same thing that we're going through right now, and they're going, "Hey, I got through it. Here's how I did it. It might not work for you,
Hmm.
but try a few of these things and it might work. But do it in your own way."
Yeah.
Like for me, I was heartbroken by several people, and I myself, I talked to the person who I love, who has been there with me for the last 2 years and has helped me walk through it, through the fire, through the pain and the heartache and the broken pieces. She picked them up, helped put me back together, but she didn't do the gluing. I did. I am now bigger and stronger than I was before. There's a song that I actually like to reference a whole lot because what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Those are
Hmm.
words of affirmation. Those are words to bring forth into the world and put your energy out there because you will get over it. You will move on. You will get past whatever it is that you're fighting. And
You just got to keep
Ronnie
fighting.
Radke, exactly. And Ronnie Radke actually had a song right after that that was a cry for help from somebody that could listen. And then he wrote a song right after that to say there are people out there listening. You just got to find the people who are willing to listen to you, willing to
Hmm.
help you. There's nothing more I have to say. It's right there. Music is a key to the soul. We're crying out for help, or we're asking for guidance or something along the way, just for somebody to be like, "Hey, I heard you cry. I heard you whisper. You need somebody to be there. Why don't we go get lunch, sit down and talk about this, and maybe I can help you."
Yeah.
That to me is what speaks the most. I do not agree with how they opened up for people to do remixes of songs because most people don't understand the meaning behind the lyrics. Yeah, you can redo the instrumentals all day long, but do not touch those lyrics because those lyrics were from somebody else because of what they were going through. Now, I have
Yes.
seen a lot of songs where this artist had this song and then somebody did the guy's perspective or the girl's perspective or the guy's response or the girl's response
Hmm.
because they're putting their own perspective and their own spin and their own swing on it.
Hmm.
But they're using the same music but with their own lyrics. That I can get behind. But I cannot get behind somebody tarnishing what, Slipknot started or what Linkin Park started. Hell, I'm not a big fan, but I do like me some Limp Bizkit. Don't get me wrong. I love me some Limp Bizkit,
Hmm. Oh yeah.
but very few songs. And one of the songs that I actually commend for Limp Bizkit doing a cover, and they kept to the originality of it and how it was supposed to be, was Behind Blue Eyes. Best song, and that was That was him speaking the truth about himself.
Yeah. So I, I guess let me ask you this for now. From the perspective of the band, what is the band's mission statement?
What do you mean?
Like just overall, overall statement for the band about what your mission is, what you want to accomplish with the band
Well,
and
I
your
can't
music.
speak for everybody that's in the band, but I can say for myself, I want the people who listen to our music to not just love the band or love the song or love the album or this, that. I don't want them just to just love it. I want them to be able to
Mhm.
relate to it. Because if you play one of our songs and we're talking about something deep and emotional and you go, I don't know if you understand what the lyrics are saying, but this is how I feel. What they're talking about is how I feel.
Mhm.
I'm asking for somebody to help me with this because I don't know what to do. I don't know how to feel. I don't know like we have a song for our next album called Broken. And this is our third album that we're going to be recording and the song is called Broken. And the lyrics, actually, let me pull up the lyrics real quick.
Okay.
The lyrics on this album on this song is I feel so broken inside, can't hold back the feelings I hide. This spite is poison to us. We can't ever learn how to trust. I'm just feeling so broken, can't take back what's been spoken. I don't know how I should feel. I don't know if this is real. I don't know what I should say. I don't know if I should stay. And this is talking about a relationship because of emotions and hatred and pain and because of other people causing issues. But in the end, in the end of the song, it's so take me away from this hell. You picked me up when I fell. I stayed too long in this rain. Now you're the cause of my pain. That right there is a simple thing of I'm acknowledging the fact that you, said person, are what's driving me to feel like this. And in the ending of it, the outro, it goes, I know now I know what I should feel. Now I know this is real. Now I know what I should say. I know that I can't stay. Meaning I know now that I have to walk away from you to move on with my life and to get over this hurt and this pain. Because I had no one there to help me walk through it.
That's deep.
It is. And that's the message that we're trying to get through to people is our music is a way for you to communicate to other people on how you feel and if they can help you.
Mhm.
That's what it all boils down to is how can you communicate what you're trying to say through our music. Granted, our music is metal. We cover pretty much any genre, any style of metal from heavy metal, thrash metal, death metal, black metal, doom metal, deathcore, funeral doom, funeral black and doom, funeral black, black and doom. It just whatever we write at that point and at that moment in that time is what we go with.
So
What we
almost like the
hear,
Bubba Gump of metal.
pretty much. This is where we would be called and considered dad rock. I don't know if you know the band Coldplay. They
Hmm.
have a song. What the fuck is that song? Um, um, I have to look it up because.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad I'm not the only one that forgets stuff.
Oh yeah, the older you get. Oh, it's not Coldplay. It's Crossfade. My bad, Crossfade.
Okay.
It's the song. The song is called "Cold" by Crossfade, and the song itself is actually quite deep. Because coming
Mhm.
from the guy's perspective, he's talking about, I never meant to be so cold. I never meant to shut you out. I never meant to be this way towards you. And their messages and their songs was to reach to their generation of audience for people around their age. And as I got older, I now sit back and I go, damn, that's actually quite deep. Now, you can look at all these death metal bands and these deathcore bands that sing about, you know, ejaculating fire or coming blood or whatever.
Cannibal
What
Corpse.
the fuck? What the fuck is the message in that? Now, Lorna Shore,
Uh,
I will give the vocalist of Lorna Shore his credit because that motherfucker can do things that no human should be able to do. He is a freaking demon that crawled out of the depths of hell to put his pain out there for people to hear. Hence the song, uh, "To the Hellfire." Though, if you actually sit back and look and read the lyrics are emotionally deep. Granted, most people don't understand what the lyrics talk about unless you are a lyricist or a songwriter or somebody who has experienced that pain and don't know how to say the words, and they're saying it for you. That's that.
mhm.
Lorna Shore is a different breed of deathcore. Now, don't get me wrong, because Alex the Terrible, well, he's got the name Alex the Terrible for a reason. He's a freaking demon. He's literally a demon. He wrestles freaking bears. He fights in UFC for the fun. Screw the money. He does it for fun. But if you listen to his music and you read his lyrics, what is his lyrics talking about? Flesh we drink, or blood we drink, flesh we ate. Like, he's talking about religion right there.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds like
If
having
you
communion.
bingo, he's talking about religion and he's bashing on religion based on that song. In a way, he's making fun of the Christian religion by blood we drink, the wine in the glass, the flesh we ate, the communion, whatever it is.
Mhm.
If you watch the music video even shows it. It was the Last Supper,
Hmm.
and people don't realize that a lot of these musicians are talking about politics, religion, money, self-loathing, hatred of other people, sex, pain. They're talking about a lot of things that are personal matters to themselves in hopes
Mhm.
that one day there's someone or a few like a lot of people out there that can relate. I mean, it's just
Oh
like with
yeah.
our music. We don't bash religion. We don't talk about burning churches. We don't make fun of this religion. We don't talk about politics. We don't talk about money. We don't talk about sex because that's just not something that's on the table for us. The only song that we have that's politically incorrect is a song that we have that's actually the number 10, the track 10 song on Vampire. And it's called Crown
Mhm.
of Deceit. And it's the only thing that's political. And we're not actually talking about politics. Granted, it's hinted in it, but it's not actually talking about specific politics.
Mhm.
They're the government sending soldiers out there to fight a war that the government started, and people are losing their mothers, their sons, their daughters, their brothers, their sisters, their dads, their aunts, their uncles in a war
Yeah.
that the government created.
Mhm.
We're losing people because we're expecting them to come back off this tour from war. And well, where's my brother? Where's my sister? Where's my mom? Where's my dad? My aunt? My uncle? My kids? Where are they at? They're dead.
Yeah.
The only part about it that's really political is us saying that the government is lying to you. You are just pawns in the movement that the king on the chessboard is playing. That's as
Commander in
political as we
chief.
have gotten.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least here in America, yeah, the commander in chief, or Russia, Putin, you know, they're just the pawns, or we are the pawns. Absolutely.
Exactly. And
So,
you know, like that's what I'm trying to get through to people. That's what my band's
mhm.
trying to get through. But I interrupted you. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so it sounds like that you write, when it comes to writing the songs themselves, sounds like you write a lot of the lyrical, um, like you have meaning to the lyrics. They're not just, like you said, some random words. Um, Now the music, when it comes to writing the music, do you write? So I already know, of course, but for everybody else, do you write the music for like straightforward beats, or do you write music to like thinking outside the box, or polyrhythms, weird time signatures? Do you write it,
Um,
for the musicality of
we
it?
theoretically we write our music based on whatever we feel, and if it sounds good and it works, we try to find the way to keep on beat. And if it's a 5/4, 4/4, 3/4, 7/8, a 16 fourths, or a 4/16, it just all
All in one
depends.
song.
Pretty much, and it just all depends on what we do. And majority of our songs for this album are either 3/4, 4/4, 4/4 triplet, or triplet 3/4. None of our songs have gone past 4/4. Not until you start getting into the second, third, fourth, and fifth albums that we're going to be doing. That's where we start getting into more of the 4/4, the 8/3, the 3/8, the 7/12. That's where everything changes, because we're not
Okay.
writing to please other people. We're not writing music to please this drummer that wants to stay in 4/4, or please this vocalist who wants to do scream, but all he can think of is, a monk chant. Ah, da, 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 da. No. Go based on your emotion. Go based on your feeling. We're not doing something
Hmm.
to please other people. We're doing things for ourselves in hopes that people can relate to our music. That when we write, we don't have a specific structure. Not until the whole band sits down and the drummer's kind of tapping it out and they're doing their thing, and they go, "Hey, take that riff, move that here, shorten it, finish out that riff, but split the next riff in half, and then move on to the next riff." And there you go. You got yourself a 2/3, a 3/4, a 4/7, or whatever. Just depends on what we write. There's no specific set of what we write. Like the song Phantom, you are familiar with it, but not a whole lot of people are.
Nope.
Phantom, at first, you thought it was a 5/4, but it's actually not.
There's a lot
It's
of it sounds like it.
down. Like Phantasmic Memories. Phantasmic Memories also another song
Hmm.
that's 4/4, but it's a basic metalcore riff from a band that actually inspired those two songs, and that was Bullet for My Valentine. Bullet for My Valentine was my top band at that time when I was writing those two songs, and I took their emotion because there were some songs that I was relating to, and I was like, I'm hearing the style, I'm hearing this. It's close and similar, but it's so different from what they're doing because they're in drop C and drop C sharp. I'm in drop B, drop A, drop G sharp, drop G, drop F sharp, drop F. I'm in double drop E. Like, I'm in so many different tunings that we are so different, but we use a lot of the same styling. but we don't use the same chords. We don't use the same riffs. We use the same chromatic scale, but we patternize it differently for ourselves. And that's how
Mhm.
actually 5 songs that are actually a 5-part, or well, technically it's an 8-part story that's being split up between the 5 albums that we have.
That sounds like Dream Theater, Octavarium stuff.
In a way, yes, but we don't want to
I think that's
overload
cool.
one album with one whole long story, and then people miss the point.
Hmm.
We want people to go, like, for instance, Slipknot. I'm a big fan of Slipknot. I love Corey Taylor, Mick Thompson, Jim Root. Too bad Paul Gray's dead. Joey Jordison's gone. Um, Sean Cran's still around. I mean, a lot of the good ones are still there, but a lot of the great ones are gone. But if you look at, I saw something on Facebook earlier today about 4 of the songs from Slipknot actually are a story. 2 songs off of one album, um, another song off of another, and then on the third album was another song. Because each one is playing a different story, but it's telling the same story, but in a different way. It's telling it
Hmm.
from beginning to during to after to moving on.
Okay.
And the way Slipknot did it is they had this story that they wanted to tell leading up into what they were trying to say. They moved on to the next album. Oh, they have this other story that leads up into, oh, now we're in the actual relationship. Now we're telling a story about the relationship into how we're feeling, what we're doing, how we're fighting the demons inside, and now you broke it off with me, you broke up with me, we're moving on. Well, now I'm telling another story about how I'm heartbroken and I can't live anymore. Now I'm telling another story about all of this and about how I got over you. And
One
one
of
of
those
those songs,
songs,
I wish
Snuff.
one of those songs is Snuff. Matter of fact, let me tell you the actual songs that were um, actually in that story. We're going to start with um, let's go to Vermilion Part 2, because right before
Mhm.
Vermilion Part 2 is Before I Forget, and then it goes into Vermilion Part 2. That's the start of the story. Then it goes into Dead Memories, and then
Mhm.
it goes into Till We Die, and then XIX, and then there's the 5th song that they had. I'm trying to find it. Um, I want to say it was Solway Firth or something along the line of the second to last album that they did. But I know XIX, Till We Die, Vermilion Part 2, Snuff, Dead Memories. Those those all play a part. Those are all major songs. Like
Yes,
those
they are.
tell a story from Corey Taylor's perspective. And granted, Corey Taylor didn't write the lyrics on some of them. Sean Cran wrote some. Paul Gray wrote some. Joey Jordison wrote some. Well, I don't know if Mick Thompson wrote anything, but I know Mick Thompson did some backup vocals on the first album. But Jim Root wrote some. Uh, Tortilla Man, he fucking wrote some. Every little bit, like, I mean, even Sid Wilson and Craig Jones, they all played a major part, and they wrote songs for every album based on what they were going through and what they were experiencing. They're telling a story from their own perspective on each album. Everybody in the band is telling a story of their own hardships and leading up to where they're at now. hence the last album, Adderall. We're all familiar with the song Adderall. We all know what that song's talking about. It's plain as day in the lyrics. Granted, Corey Taylor sang them, but who actually wrote that song? I will give you two guesses as to who wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
And I guarantee you on the first try, you'll get it.
Joey?
Nope, Joey Jordison was not on this album because the last person that was on that album was
would have been
what the fuck is his name?
Jay
Weinberg.
Jay?
Yeah, he was the last drummer for that album because now Slipknot has Eloy Casagrande. But no, the person who wrote it was actually Sean Cran.
Okay.
Outlaw was Sean Cran's last song that he wrote to finish off telling a story that he was trying to tell. It's right there. Like in my band, I'm not the only one writing music. I'm not the only one writing lyrics. I'm getting everybody in the band involved in it because I'm tired of being the only person writing shit about what I'm going through. What about you guys? What are you going through? Write about it. Let's put it on an album.
I'd have to write a book.
Pretty much. But you can take that book and you can shorten it to be short, sweet, and simple by just saying, let's say 38 or 32 lines of 3 verses, 3 choruses, a bridge, and an outro. And 32 lines. You can have an entire book written in a song. And that's what we're trying to do is we're trying to take our books and turn our books into songs.
Oh, yeah. So without going into any kind of details regarding hot topics such as politics, religions, or any of the other debatable hot topics, describe the morals of the band and as yourself.
We're all showmen. We have no frontmen. We all are the band. We all are the frontmen. We're all just a bunch of wild men that we get together. We're getting up on that stage to have fun. The person that's getting up on that stage, yeah, we're going to try to stay as professional as possible, but we're up there to have fun. We're wanting to interact with the crowd. We're wanting the crowd to have fun. We want, to have fun. So the people that the crowd sees up on the stage is the people that they're going to meet outside. We're nothing like Slipknot. Okay. Trust me, we're nothing like Slipknot where Sean Cran gets his head bashed in by Sid Wilson from headbutting him.
Ouch.
That's a whole story from back in the 90s and how they got Sid Wilson that I don't want to delve into because I'm not 100% certain on that story.
Right.
But we're not as violent. We're not as crazy and nut jobs like they are. We are our own people. We're wanting to have fun. The people you see up on that stage is the people you're going to meet outside those doors.
Okay. I'm assuming you're not like Motley Crue either then, huh?
No. We're not cocaine snorting, meth shooting crackheads that jump around on a freaking stage and then end up breaking a leg and have to be in a wheelchair for the next 6 months on a tour.
Is that where that quote came from, though? Don't break a leg. Or break a leg or something.
It's one of those two, but I know it's been around for a while, but I know quite a few musicians who have actually gone out on stage. They put their heart and their soul out into their music, jumped on that stage and broke a leg. Literally broke a leg. And that's how the term break a leg out there. And to me, that's a curse. That's putting a curse on somebody by telling them to break a
Hmm.
leg. And that's what I would
You're
say
right.
as I'm going out there on that stage is don't break a leg.
Yeah. So kind of like the way a lot of people will comprehend this one, instead of telling a band don't instead of telling a band break a leg, think of it as you go to an emergency room. It's like super dead quiet in there. One of the big things you don't say is quiet in here.
Yeah.
That's when shit
There's two
happens.
things. There's two things you don't say when you walk into a hospital. Man, y'all are slow, and it's awfully quiet in here. Because guess what? You're gonna be in there for 5 minutes, and then here comes 6 ambulances. Here comes like 15 people with some kind of illness, and then the nurses are gonna fucking hate you.
Yep. Here
Trust
comes
me.
old Raven reviving because he fell off the stage and broke his leg because you told him to break his leg.
Yeah, thanks, you jackass. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. So we all have people in our lives that influence us. Who are your biggest influences as both Raven Revival and as Bloodless Revival?
So the main inspiration and the main influences for who I am as a musician, they thrive off of some actual famous people. Like the style that I write in comes from Chris Motionless and how his lyrics are deep. My guitar playing with the whole heavy metal and real grungy thrash, dark, nasty, just dirty sounding riffs, just as dirty as I can get that distortion to make it sound like absolute shit, comes from Mick Thompson. But the riff and the style that I play comes from Bullet for My Valentine, Kill Switch Engage, um, some Lamb of God, like early day Lamb of God, third album, Awaken Ashes or whatever that album's called. So it's something like that. But
Mhm.
those are my main influences for who inspired me. Now, don't get me wrong, Van Halen, Ozzy Osbourne, um, Black Sabbath, Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith, ZZ Top, Eric Clapton, um, excuse me while I kiss the sky. Oh, Jimi
Oh,
Hendrix.
yes.
Those are great, great artists. They are what got me into the music that I listen to now. And every now and then, I still catch myself listening to that classic 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s rock because that's what I started with. Those were the bands that I learned some of their songs first. That's
Mhm.
what helped shape me into the guitarist that I am today. But it took heavy metal, thrash metal, like Metallica, early day Metallica thrash metal, not mainstream thrash metal Metallica. We're gonna get that right. Nothing against Metallica, just they're a little overrated now. Like they're not like they used to be.
You just didn't like that snare drum. That's all it is.
No, Saint Anger was freaking. But we're not getting into that. But no, as an artist myself, I have a lot of inspiration for what got me to where I'm at now. But it took Slayer, Slipknot, Metallica, Megadeth, Pantera, um, Crossfade, Coldplay, Killswitch, Bullet, Motionless. It took all these bands to shape me to be the person I want to be for my fans, for my followers, for my family, for my people. Because that's who I want my people to know. The
Mhm.
person that gets up on stage is the same motherfucker that's gonna run off stage because some dude decided that he was gonna hit a little girl Well, here comes short little guitars that's gonna rock your shit.
Hmm.
Or, you know, the same guitarist that's gonna be in the crowd, no one's gonna notice. He's gonna have a guitar, start playing, and be like, "Well, no one's noticing. All right, cool." And then as I'm walking up to the stage, people are gonna be like, "Holy shit!" And I'll just, when the song's done, I'll give everybody hugs, walk my happy ass back up to the stage because I want the people to know that the person that's up on that stage is the same person that they're gonna meet. Granted, I know I am an asshole. There's not a whole lot of people out there that fucking like me. It takes a very, very specific breed of person to like me. And I'm not one that's easily to like. But I don't care if you like me or not. What I do is for myself, not for you. And the people who do like me, well, they're all about, you know, what I'm actually about.
Hmm. Most definitely. So I'll ask you this one. What do you look for if you used to look for managers, producers, or promoters? What do you look for in those people?
Um, I'm not 100% certain I understand what you're trying to ask.
If you had to look for a manager, you had to look for a promoter, or you had to go look for a producer, um, what would you look for in those people? What kind of qualities? What traits?
So for me, a manager is meant to manage what the band comes in as, not to take from the band because the manager's not really putting any fucking work in. They're not up on that stage busting their ass. It's just like, a manager of a store. If a manager is out there on the floor with their team leading the way, they deserve some money. But if all
Mm-hmm.
you're doing is sitting your happy go lucky fat ass in the back in the office, not doing a lick of fucking shit other than counting all that money that's being brought in for the day and putting it in a safe and then playing on your fucking computer and watching the fucking security cameras, do you really deserve a pay? Now, as a manager, I look for somebody who's going to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
hardworking, who's going to put in the effort. So if we decide we're going to play, we're going to want this tour, and these are the places we want to play, your job as a manager is to make sure we get the money that we're asking for. So if we're not going to
Mm-hmm.
play a show for less than $5,000, your job as a manager is to make sure that we get that 5,000 so that every person in the band can get paid and so that every person in the band can put money back into the band to buy new gear, to
Mm-hmm.
buy new guitar strings, new drum heads. Because the further you get into your musical career, everybody knows that your musical instrument is not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
For guitars, you got to have guitar strings, guitar picks. Sometimes you break a tuning peg. Sometimes you break a nut. Sometimes you damage a bridge. You got to get all that fixed. You warp the neck. You break the neck. You got to replace the guitar. Oh, none of that shit is cheap. We got to have money to be able to pay. Now, is there a cut in there? A 10% cut for the manager? Yes. The manager gets a 10. I expect the manager to only want a 10% cut or a fair equal cut based off of what the band is making so that they can take some money home to provide for their family because we all have a family to take care of. And
Mm-hmm.
our music is the way that we support and we take care of our family. If we're playing for money and we're playing big shows and big stages, this is what we're doing. This is our career. This is what we're doing. And we have to have some way to support our family.
Oh, yeah, you're not wrong.
And as a promoter, your job is literally just to find the fucking bands. If you
Mhm.
have one band that wants to put on a show and they want to put on an event and they reach out to you, well, your job as a promoter is to put the money in for them to play the show. And then whatever money is dished out from ticket sales, door fees, this or that or whatever, that gets split out between the business. The promoter should get a small cut, but the bands should get the most because the bands are the ones up there doing the work. Because the fans aren't there for the venue,
No,
the fans aren't there for the promoter.
no,
Who are the fans there for then?
for the band.
Bingo. Now, as for a production agency or a recording label, for a studio agency, anything like that, your main sole purpose is for us to pay you for your time, for us to record our shit with your gear, your equipment, so that we
Mhm.
can get our shit out there. You do this work, and we're making, $1,000 a day from X amount of people buying our music off of Pandora, Spotify, this place or that place or this platform or that platform, whatever. You take a 20% cut because we're taking the money and then we go, hey, here's your money for recording our shit.
Mhm.
And that's the thing with Revenant Recordings is we're not doing it for the money. It's, hey, no, we'll record you. We'll help you put your money out. Well, we'll help you put your music out there, but we don't want your money. We do this
Mhm.
because we know what it's like being a small time band to being where we're at now. And the simple fact that BLR has not played a show and people already know who we are, that that surprises me. There's promoters
Most
who have
definitely.
heard about us. There are venues who have heard about us. There are other bands who have heard about us. I have other bands asking me on occasions, hey, you want to come play a show? I have to turn them down and go, I don't exactly have a full lineup. Well, now I do have a full lineup, and guess what? New people in this lineup have to learn the song.
Hmm.
So that's where a lot of us are like, we're not going to do anything until we know we're all ready. And
Right.
I commend,
And you really
you
can't,
know, yeah, I commend my bassist. I commend my second guitarist. I commend my vocalist, Novak, Dax Demon, Isaac. I commend them all. Like we right now, we have a
Mhm.
drummer who wants to audition for us, and because we just recently lost a drummer that we had auditioned and got him in the band, he was on a 90-day probationary period. So I mean, it's no harm, no foul. If it wasn't for him, it wasn't for him, and we weren't for him. So he stepped away. And I said, all right, cool. I wish you the best of luck. I wish you the best endeavors. Have fun.
Mhm.
Well, he's 50 years old. He's got a family to take care of. He's got a job to do. Okay, you're a good drummer. You really are. But I understand that you have a family to think about. You have a family to take care of. Okay. I have no hard feelings against it. Like, I understand. Your family comes
Yeah, and you
first.
said, oh,
But now
100%.
we
And you said 50,
go ahead.
you said 50 years old. I mean, I got to say, as, 40, 41 years old, your music, it's not for us older drummers per se. It's a lot to it.
Yeah, there's a lot to it because we're using polyrhythms, we're using odd time signatures, we're using this time signature, then we go off to this time signature, then we go back onto this time signature, then we go back off onto this, the whole different time signature, just to go back onto this time signature. Or, we're playing in
So that
this
sounds
time
like it's a
signature.
challenge.
We're doing it is a challenge for a lot of people. But we have a drummer who wants to audition for us, but he's currently on tour with another band called Abandoned Alien. I was going to be one of the bassists for him to be on this tour, but I had to turn it down because other objectives came up that I needed to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, having a job and a job you just got, you can't exactly go on a tour with a job that you just got. Because, I mean, they play 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And, well, that's a bit of a pain in the ass.
Especially for an employer. Yes.
Yeah, because
So
that's not.
what do you look for in... No, it's not. What do you look for in recording studios?
People with common fucking sense. People who say that they know what they're doing and when they really don't, and I go, you're a fucking idiot, let me do this? I shouldn't have to be the one to do your job for you to record our shit and make it better. Now, if I go to a recording studio, I'm going there with my band under the impression that you know what you're doing and you're going to make it sound really, really good and very professionally done. I'm not going to waste my time going to a small-time studio if, the punk-ass kid doesn't know what he's doing. And I'm sorry to anybody else who, is part of that. I'm not aiming it at you. Everybody's good in their own way, but stick with the stuff you know best. Like, if you are a punk rocker and you do a lot of punk stuff like 3 Days Grace, Three Doors Down, Green Day, stuff like that, stick with it because that's what you're good at. Don't try to get involved in the metal because metal is recorded differently. We're based off of
Different
raw
tones.
audio, different tones, but we're based off of raw audio. So basically, if I hop on an interface and I put on a metronome and I'm hearing that ticking, I'm playing to what that ticking's doing, and I'm recording out that little session, and then da 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 da, end of the song. I send it over to the drummer. The drummer puts his little thing on it. I tell him exactly what the tempo is, what the BPM is, what the time signature is. He does it. He follows it, does his own little spin, sends it off to the bassist. The bassist goes, let's do this. They record his own little shit, and then everything that everybody has recorded gets sent back to me so I can plug it into my program and take all of the stuff that they have and match it up and line it up to where everything is on time, on beat, in the correct time signature, and on the correct BPM. I should not. I'm at that point to where if I'm going to go to a studio, you should already know how to do this.
I agree.
Because I'm not going to waste my time recording one riff and one song just for you to have to send it to another person, just for that person just to record a section, just to get it sent back to you, just for you to send that same recording back over to somebody else. Like, that's too much of a headache. Take the whole band, get them in the studio, get a raw recording of what they sound like, play it in the background in like some earbuds or something, and have a click track going to it, and then they can record individual parts. Like even your big bands do this, like Slipknot, Motionless in White, Metallica. They've all done this where they put on a click track and they already have a song playing in one side and a click track in the other because they're hearing the one guitar or the two guitars or the drums, and they're hearing that click track to keep them on beat. And like James Hetfield, Kirk Hammett, they do the same thing. When they record, They record with a click track in one and a recording in the other, a raw recording, so that they can stay on with what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all your big bands do it, but the studios, they take those bands, get them in one room, record individual parts after they do a whole band recording to get a feel of how they sound. And then they take individual pieces, individual people, record one section at a time, and they play every single part. And then when they get to the vocalist, they play the whole background with the whole band. And then the vocalist has only the music going in their headset with a click track in the back, in the very, very background of the music, but you can still hear it. It's like a while the music's playing. And that keeps the vocalist on time to be able to sing and stay on beat. I've watched
Mm-hmm.
a live studio recording session of Motionless in White and how Chris Motionless did it with Ricky Horror Olsen, Vinny, and everybody else that's in the band with Justin Morrow. Justin Morrow's the bassist that came from Ice Nine Kills.
Right.
I'm big fan, you know. They
Mm-hmm.
all do it. Every band does it. So what I look for in a recording studio is people who know what they're doing and have common fucking sense.
That's from a tech perspective. Yes, common sense is definitely good. So what do you look for when you book venues?
When I book venues, I usually try to reach out to venues first to find a reputable. Like I will talk to bands at different shows that I'll go to, like in OKC, I'll talk to Paralytic or Burn the Throne or Saving Celis or Oklahoma Blood or this band or that band, and I'll talk to them and be like, hey, like the last show I went to had Project Eclipse. I actually talked to the drummer and how he does it and how he gets everybody in the band to be on the same page to play at this venue and that venue, so on and so forth, and they all agree on one thing. Who is the promoter? What is their reputation? Oh, it's a new promoter that's trying to go big. Let's see how they do. Let's give them a shot. Oh, the promoter was very, very professional. They put on a good show for the venue. We gave them back the energy. We just didn't get what we were asking for the money, but you know what? That's okay. Because I will work with that promoter again because this was their first time doing it. We all have to learn from something from somewhere. And
Yes,
mistakes are made.
and it's not easy.
No, it's not.
Oh, yes.
I mean, mistakes will be made, but you have to learn from them so you know what to do and what not to do again. So what I look for is bands who have played at certain venues, which venues are reputable, which promoter has a good reputation, which promoter has a good upstanding with certain venues. How big is the stage at the venues? What can the promoter and the venue promise the band for playing out there? Because if we're driving from freaking OKC all the way to Arkansas for a freaking show, that's almost 8 hours from there to play in God knows where. And if it's not worth the money, we're not going to drive it. Because at minimum, most bands should get $250. And the reason why I say that is because that $250 can be used towards band expenses, like getting gas, getting the band some food from that show on the way back or to the show. So, like, say one person in the band buys everybody food. That money goes back to that person who bought everybody food. Or if everybody just goes there, plays the show, leaves, gets their money, Well, they can take the money, go to a restaurant, and spend $50 at like McDonald's. That's $10 a person. They can go out to eat. They can get something to eat for the way back home, and then they still have $200 to
Mhm.
put towards gas, to put towards band expenses like new guitar strings, new bass strings, new drum heads, so on and so forth. Or if they're smart, they're going to take that rest of that money,
Mhm.
like say they spend $60 for gas to go from OKC to Tulsa. That's
Mhm.
$60 there and back. Well, that leaves them
Mhm.
down to like $140. If they're smart, they will take that money and they will put forth that money into a savings for the band. So if they need it, they have that money to pay for more merchandise like shirts, pants, hoodies, hats, jackets, shirts. I don't know if I already said shirts. I think I did.
Mhm.
But
Beer
beanies.
koozies.
Yes, like there's so many different things that you can put that money towards from playing different
Mhm.
shows. And that helps you build up. So for BLR, I have a few people that I work with on like the side for like making shirts. Um,
Mhm.
the next set of merch that we're going to be getting is we're going to be ordering some shirts. We're going to do some cutoff sleeves. We're going to do like the standard cut sleeves right here. We're going to do low cut. We're going to do V-necks. We're going to do crop tops. We're going to do a lot of different things to put forth for our fans. So like, oh, we have female fans who want a crop top or a spaghetti strap or this or that. Or, you
Mhm.
know, if we can manage to sign a deal with like a shoe company, we can like say DC. We can get some shoes made from DC with our logo on it. And as that would be a special market for the band. Yeah, the shoes are not going to be cheap. So we can take standard black shoes for $67, but we're going to have to upcharge it because it's got our logo, it's got our merchandise on it, because we're the
Mhm.
ones buying it, we're the ones paying for it, and we're selling it to you. So of course it's going to be 150, 160, sometimes $200 a pair of shoes because those are limited edition shoes that we're probably not going to do all the time.
Mhm.
We might do it once or twice and then it's done. It's not, we're
Yeah.
not doing it for any specific person or anything. It's just, we do it because it's what's bringing us money for the band.
Mhm. Maybe make it like a VIP package.
Nah, see,
VIP merchandise.
I wouldn't do a
Mhm.
VIP merchandise thing because to me, all merchandise should be available to everybody, not specific set of people
Okay.
based on who can afford what. I don't give a fuck if you're rich or poor. I don't care if you're famous or homeless. I don't care. You want to see us and you
Mhm.
have $100. You buy a ticket for $25. You come to our show. You have $75 left over. You spend $25 to get a shirt, a beanie, and maybe a beer koozie because water bottles and whatever.
Mhm.
You have 25 to $50 left over to be able to buy yourself some food. Even
Mhm.
if the shoes are $200, you walk in there with 500. We all know anybody who walks in with 500 or more in their pocket, they're walking away with nothing because they're gonna want to buy the entire freaking merchandise. They're gonna buy one of everything. And I'm guilty as
Yeah.
charged because I did this at Rock
Especially
Oklahoma back
that
in
tie dye
2022.
shirt. That's an easy place to do that. And I tell you what, if I
Yeah,
would have had the money back in February, I would have bought that tie dye shirt from Paralytic
that wasn't tie dye. That was the Ravens
Ravens.
special. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a special thing, but the story behind that is when I was with Paralytic, I kind of spilled bleach on a shirt and it looked badass, so everybody else wanted it. So now they kind of marketed it to be the Raven special for the shirts because of one shirt getting fucked up. Now it's like, yeah, well, now we have a whole bunch of these shirts because these are what people want.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Oh.
welcome.
So here's a question that has gotten a lot of interesting results. If you could play any one show with any artist and at any venue, even if it is not obtainable, with who and where would it be?
It'd be at Whacking with Bullet for my Valentine.
Whack, and there's one I haven't heard yet.
Hellfest. Hellfest.
Mm-hmm.
Hellfest or Whacking, one of the two.
I think third option probably could have been Rock AM Ring.
No,
Maybe.
that one's too common now. So many bands are playing out there. It's if Woodstock was still around, I would be Woodstock. If I would have been older back in the 90s and would have started BLR around 99, I would have loved to have played Woodstock 99 with Pantera, Metallica, Megadeth, all the great bands that we have now. That I would love to have played that. But because Woodstock's no longer around, the next best thing, Whacking or Hellfest. It just those are some great places to play because not a whole lot of bands get to play there.
Mm-mm.
You either have to be from that country or that place in order to play there.
Oh, wow. I heard one the other day that caught me off guard. I don't remember the band, but they had the thought. You remember the show where Metallica played to over 1 million people, I believe, in Moscow? That's the location they wanted to play at.
That one would be another good one, but most of the music that we have does not exactly fly well in Russia.
Yeah. That big of a crowd would be awesome, though.
Yeah, that big of a crowd would be great, but we all know the music that we have, it doesn't exactly fly too well in Russia. Just like Rammstein. Rammstein's a good band, but a lot of their music is banned and blocked in Russia because of the political aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of the vulgarity, because of the nature that they compose the songs in. Like, for instance, here in America, one of the songs that they have is called Pussy. And to find the actual unedited video for it, you have to go to a porn website to actually find it. Because it's been so watered down and censored here in America that what's the point of having a fucking music video from a great band that you can't even witness?
Yeah. Especially here in Oklahoma, where unless you
block
follow those
sites.
Yeah.
I will come out and say it. They blocked a lot of porn sites. I'm sorry to the men and women who like to get their jollies off to that, but there's nothing we can do about it anymore. We got
and so
as
there
we
goes
go
the song.
on with our lives. Exactly. But as we go on with our lives, we notice that the government is putting their grubby little dick beaters in every little thing that we do. And it's not cool. Now, I know there's a lot of bands out there that do sing about that. I know there's a lot of bands, like my band included, that don't really give a fuck. Because we're not worried about that. Oh, we see it on Facebook. This bill passed. What do you do? Protect the children. I mean, I wouldn't want my kids on Pornhub. That's
Right?
kind of disturbing.
It is.
I mean, congratulations, Oklahoma. You're fucking up adults' lives, but you're doing the best you can to protect the youth of our nation. You're going about
Mhm.
it the wrong way. Like, if you want to protect the youth of our children, the children have to have a valid ID, an email address connected, and a way for everybody to be able to identify if you are above the age of 18.
Mhm.
Like, for instance, when you go into a bar, how old do you have to be?
Typically 21.
In in order for you to get in the bar, how do you get in?
Check your ID.
Bingo. Now, if a venue says, "Oh, this is for 18 plus only," they're going to check your ID, right? To make sure you're above 18.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, common sense. A lot of people are going to do that.
Mhm.
But I think Oklahoma should mandate email addresses having to have some physical identification attached to your email address and those kinds of adult sites to require you to put in your email address in order to even get into the site. That's just my thought. But I
You
commend
just
Oklahoma for doing what they're doing to protect our children because I wouldn't want my kids to be looking at that shit.
absolutely. But I think deep
I
down
mean,
inside, what you really, really want is to be able to go watch that Rammstein video here in Oklahoma.
oh no, I've actually seen it already. But it took me down many freaking rabbit holes to actually go and watch it. And I watched that when I was a teenager when it first came out. I was like
Mhm.
14 or 15 years old when I first seen it. And I had to go down a rabbit hole out the wazoo just to find it.
Wow. Mm. So
And
going through looking.
it,
Oh,
but yeah, no, it just comes down to I commend Oklahoma for doing the thing that they're doing.
there you go. So looking through some of these comments on here, um, you got one that said, "Or you could play country because of me,"
Yeah, who said that?
Rosa.
Of
And
course she
then
said it.
yeah, then you got Micah. They listen to metal. And you got Jared. Jared said, "Raven Revival is an awesome dude."
Thank you, Jared. I actually know him personally. He followed me on TikTok, and him and I have had several conversations. Um, he's a pretty cool dude. I commend him for
Hmm.
actually becoming the musician that he is. He's an awesome fucking dude. Like
Absolutely.
the guy himself is just. I would actually love to be able to play a show with him with my band. I
Let's
would
make it
love for
happen.
his band and my band to play a show together. Matter of fact, if anybody is interested, I'm trying to get my band to put on an event called Halloween, and it's going to be either on Halloween or it's going to be either in the beginning of the month or somewhere like that. I'm trying to figure it out on how we're going to do it. But if anybody is interested in wanting to play with us, we would love it. And Ozzy, I know you can help with that.
I might know a person or two or three that could be potentials.
Yeah.
So I've been doing this fun thing lately where I'll go through, and start talking about some of the upcoming interviews. Like April 12th, I have Brigade. And then I have April 13th, Paralytic. April 26th, Crimson Tempest. April 29th, I have Mario Salvador of Mario's Mixed Media. Um, Here's what I started doing. I'll pick an interviewee and I'll have you ask one or two questions for most cases the band. Um, so I'm going to do this. Pick a question or two that you would like to ask. We're going to keep this fun here. Paralytic.
Oh, for paralytic, let's see. My only question to them is the inspiration for why they write their music the way they do. What's the inspiration behind your lyrics? What's the inspiration behind, your guitar riffs, your drum beats? What inspired you to play what you play? What inspired you to write what you write? Granted, I know I was part of that band at one point, but I always had that question is why? Why do you write what you write? Why do you write it how you write it? What is the main
That is actually a
meat
really
and
good question.
potatoes of what is the main meat and potatoes of your inspiration and of why you do the things you do and the things that you play and the things that you write?
That is a really good question. I'll be sure to ask that. Um, so I haven't picked you yet. I might, when we do Bloodless Revival, I might get somebody to ask a question for you or something. But yeah, we definitely got to get on here and do this again and as a full band.
Yeah, I've actually got to get my whole band in on this because I don't want to be the only one, but I wonder if there's a way that we can do like a uh, preferably a 5-way to do this because it would be easy and best for everybody in the band to do it. And I got to make sure everybody
Mhm,
that's in the band is willing to do it, and if
mhm,
they're capable of doing it.
mhm. Yeah, this website is actually amazing. You can add multiple screens. Like the other day with one band, I had three other screens, not including mine. So it can definitely be done. So I know I know I wanted you by yourself first though because of your journey and who you are. Um, you're an amazing musician. I've had the honors of not only playing some drums with you, but also being your sound tech during some practices. Because of some of my personal life choices, I was actually able to get you in contact with your bassist too. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's it's crazy how things work out. But Raven, I got to tell you, it's been a great honor having you here on this to interview and to listen to your story. So,
it's been an honor for me to actually do this and sit down and actually not only tell you but tell other people my journey from step one all the way to where I'm at now, and how hard and how fun but how expensive that journey's been, and I don't regret
mhm,
any step of the way of it. It's because of my music and who I am and how I express myself that the person I am with, I have a family with. And I
mhm,
couldn't ask for a better life than that. Because to
I
me,
love that.
money is nice having, but a family is what makes you rich. Money makes you filthy rich, but a family makes your heart rich, makes your soul rich.
Yes, it does.
That
Teaches you some lessons you've never thought you'd ever. Yeah.
yeah.
So, I'll I'll usually switch this one around a little bit now, so I'll ask it to you like this. You've been around the block a time or two musically and whatnot. Pick whether any aspect of the industry, the music industry, whether it's the fans, uh, bands, ticket agents. I'm not going to say that name. I don't need lawsuits or anything, but that
Yeah,
certain
what
ticket
you say?
agents. um, any aspect, any sound techs or recording studios or whatever. Pick one aspect, one part of the industry, and sorry, I'm having a bit of a brain fog, but
Well, I've got my
one thing
kids,
that needs to
so
be okay. Well, I can't see you on the camera. I can know one thing that you feel needs to be addressed to whatever aspect of that. Yeah,
oh, in what aspect are you talking about? Like, what do you mean?
like uh, fans and cell phones at the shows, or whatever, or whatever needs to be addressed. What's one thing that you feel really needs to be addressed in the industry that, especially things that not everybody's talking about.
Anger control for those who are angry people that just want to get in the pit and start a fight. You don't need to be in a pit if you're just going to be in there to start a fight. That's something that needs to be addressed within the industry. The mosh pit is meant to be fun. It's meant for people to run around, push each other, and pretty much dance with each other in a violent manner without getting into fights. I played a show in Texas where a I don't even know what kind of band this was. Their name was Death Harvesters, and it was a bunch of kids, and they said that we
Mm-hmm.
promote and encourage violence, and then a fight breaks out, and they get pissy about it, and I'm like, what? But I mean, if somebody's gonna get mad, then you shouldn't be close to the pit. You shouldn't be in the pit. If a fight's gonna break out, you don't need to be worrying about that. Like you don't need to be in them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm.
But now for me, cell phones, have at it.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting a once in a lifetime thing. You might not ever get to have that same experience when that first album releases. Or you might not get that same experience when the last album releases and we're on our last tour. Have at it. Record. Take photos. You know, do what you can. Meet the band. And I'll tell you what, most of the
Mm-hmm.
time, when bands go to venues, if you wait long enough, you can go around back and actually meet the bands before they get on the bus. Just a little tidbit for you if y'all didn't know. Just putting that out there.
Gee, thanks. Now all the security people are gonna hate you. Good job.
Well, they can bite me. They can bite me.
Keep it professional, Ozzy.
Yeah, you better keep it
This,
professional.
but it's at the end, and gotta have a little fun on here, right? Can't be all
Yeah,
serious all the time.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, my journey's still going. My journey's still continuing. I mean,
But we can't
20
wait to
something
see.
later.
We can't wait to see where your journey takes you in the next 5, 10, 20 years.
Exactly. I mean, hell, in the next 20 years, I could be touring around overseas in Germany, Russia, Ukraine, you like whatever places out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see what my life holds with my musical abilities and my musical career. That's all I'm. That's
I'm
all I'm
excited for
looking
you
at.
too. Mhm.
But
So,
hopefully, in the next
okay.
year or year and a half, the band is going to go on tour. We're hoping.
I'm hoping so too. So, how can we find you on social media?
You can actually look up the band BLR, or if you're friends with me, you know how you can share my page, and people can talk to me, get to know me, and get to know the person behind the musician, or get to know the musician behind the person. You can get to know the band because most of the band has access. Just one person just doesn't have Facebook because they just don't like it, and they're kind of glad that they don't have it because it's a lot of drama that they don't need. Dax is one of those guys, but um,
Mm-hmm.
Isaac and myself and Novak, we all have our Facebooks. We have group chats, so we talk about things before we actually do anything. We also have a Discord as well. So
Okay. How do we
sometimes,
find your Discord?
um, usually for the Discord, it's just for the people that are the members. So we talk about a lot
Mhm.
of like personal issues in the band, about a next song, what we have as an idea, this or that, so on and so forth. But the
Okay.
broadcast channel that we have that's open to like fans, it's usually just the five of us sitting around and bullshitting while we're either listening to music or while some are playing games, so on and so forth. It's just what we do. We just kind of sit and
Mhm.
bullshit, and we'll just talk to everybody.
Okay. And I'm glad I just looked at this one. Why I usually wear my big headset, longer battery life. I'm down to 10% on my earbuds.
Might want to change those.
Yeah. Well, we did get down to the very end of it. Real quick, is there anything that you want to say to the fans?
Um, the only thing I really gotta say is be yourself. Do do you for yourself. Be yourself, and don't be somebody else for someone else. Be true to who you are. Follow your own journey and your own
I
footsteps.
I like it. Fist bump on that. Um, so Raven, it's been good having you here. Everybody that's been on watching, thank you for showing up watching. For those of you in the future who made it this far, thank you very much. Guys, come back and watch. It's the next one scheduled for Saturday with Brigade at 6:30, or Raven's favorite time, 24-hour time, 18:30. And after that we have Paralytic on Sunday, April 13th at 1500 or 3. And you guys all have a wonderful night. Good night, Raven. Thank you again.
Yep, yep.
All right. We'll be right back.